Hi, and welcome to Pawcast, a discussion podcast based in and centered around animal welfare in the Evansville-Vanderburgh area. Today we're interviewing Julie Frazier from PAAWS No-Kill Animal Rescue. Hope you enjoy. Hi, welcome to Podcast episode 3. Today we are joined by Julie at PAAWS, and we'll go ahead and get started by asking you, what is PAAWS?
PAAWS is a nonprofit 501c3 animal rescue group. We were founded in 2000, and PAAWS stands for Proving Animals Are Worth Saving. And I'm currently one of the board members. I'm the treasurer for PAAWS, so I'm very involved, and I always incorporate examples in my Excel class at UE with ways that you can use Excel, even in the nonprofit world.
Yeah, I remember I took your class in first semester I was here, and I had to do the project of 50 animals. Yeah.
Yep.
I like to go to the website and look at them.
Yeah, we're still doing that. I broke it down into a quiz for last year, but this semester I brought it back and just changed up how we do it a little bit. But yeah, it's the final project that I send them to an animal rescue site, and they have to list animals. Now I cut the list down to 25, and each person has an individual rescue. And then I have them do, create charts and filter data and, all kinds of fun Excel things using. But, and then one of my bonus questions is always, if you could adopt one of these animals, who would it be and why?
Yeah, that's neat. Getting students involved and going ahead and getting, I guess, spreading awareness through your other everything else you do too. So that's great. Going ahead and helping that helps animals too. So
Hopefully,
yeah, hopefully, yeah. At least awareness. At least
That's
awareness.
right. That's right. At least you know. If you didn't know before, at least then you know that it's out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Where to look and how to search it and all that.
Yeah.
So, could you go into a bit more detail about how PAWS operate, the fostering and
Yeah, sure. Because PAWS works a little differently than a lot of the big name rescues that you hear about in the community. We've got the Humane Societies, we've got Warwick Humane Society, Vanderburgh Humane Society. It Takes a Village, and even New Life and New Hope in our area also have facilities. And PAWS has always been foster based, meaning that when we take in animals, they go into somebody's home. And the good and the bad, right? Because we are then a smaller rescue, so not as many people know about us. We don't have quite as big of a following, I'm sure, as some of the big ones in town. And we absolutely 100% have to have those big ones because there's so many animals being surrendered, strays, neglected, abuse cases that, if we need places that can pull those animals out of animal control especially in larger numbers, and our humane societies and these other rescues are able to do that. They can take them in, they can quarantine them, if they have any illness, whereas PAWS, we're bringing them into our home, and there's the trade-offs that come with that. The good thing is that all of our animals are at home. We get to help them acclimate. Maybe they were an outside dog, or maybe they didn't have a great home life, or I don't know. But so we get to know those animals on a day-to-day basis, and what are their quirks? Are they good with men? Are they good with young people? Or are they not? Or how do they get along with other animals? Cats, dogs, people with hats, people with glasses, so we get to know them. And because of that, PAWS works a little bit differently in how we do our adoption process as well. A lot of organizations, because they have a building, and the workers that are employed by them are the ones that get to know their animals, that it's the board that makes those type of decisions when they get an application on animal. Hey, does this look like it would be a good home or does it not? Whereas with PAWS, and this is one of the things that drew me to PAWS, because I had fostered for several different groups in the area. It was back when my kids were younger, and we could say, "Ooh, those puppies look cute. Let's foster those for a while." And nobody cares because the point is that animals get help and all of that. But because with PAWS, because we are foster based, when we get an application in, we send that adoption application to our fosters because they know that animal better than anyone else knows that animal. And if they're a new foster, we help guide them through with what to look for and those type of things, and then we have a conversation with the adopter and whatnot. So that was one thing that drew me to PAWS, but like I said, because we are smaller, we aren't able to take in as many animals as a lot of the other bigger groups because we do rely solely on foster. And the flip side of that is every dollar that we earn goes to the care of our animal. We have no overhead, we don't have paid employees, we're all volunteers. And so when we do a fundraiser or like give back that we'll talk about maybe here in a bit, is every dollar goes to the vet care of that animal. And we get donated food, and we provide everything that the foster needs for that animal, whether it's the crate, food, supplies, potty pads, we do the vaccine, whatever's needed is provide.
Yeah, that's really neat. You're pretty much like a big foster support group. Yeah. I was wondering like what's like the process of like the foster, like from beginning to like adoption, or like giving or having adopting the dog to somebody else or animal.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we will post an animal that maybe somebody's needs to surrender. They can't take care of them. They for whatever reason, and we will ask internally within our foster group page if any of our current fosters are able to take in that animal, and if not, then we'll put out a plea to the public. And the same goes for like with animal control if they're at capacity that, hey, there's, here's the link to, Warwick Animal Control, Vanderburg Animal Control. If there's any animals that catch your eye, you'd be interested in fostering, go to our website at www.paaws.org and fill out a foster application. And then that goes into one of our board members that's over fosters, and then they review it, and then they'll reach out to that foster and coordinate getting the animal picked up, and then we get them all set up with, particularly if they come, from an animal control or whatever, they'll need flea meds or, heartworm meds. Generally, some people, depending if they're new or not, like I said, they might need a kennel or wee pads. So we get toys donated. We're happy to provide that as well. Give a Dog a Bone has been just amazing with helping us out with food. They did a huge food drive that we still are like have stored in our garages because the customers there were so incredibly generous. But Liz and Quincy Zickman own it, and they will always save, those supplies for us. And so that helps us because then we don't have to go out and buy food for the animals.
Absolutely.
But then once they get settled, and then if an application comes in, we get, we do our internal process with intake numbers and pictures and all that. And we get them listed on our website. Try to provide as much information as we can about that particular animal, like dislike, things that if they need a fence or they're not good with other dogs, or they are good with other dogs, but maybe not cats. We try to provide as much of that information as we can. And then basically we have adoption events every Saturday. We're usually at PetSmart, but we're getting one of our board members, James, is working on like a little summer tour. Pause is going on the road for the summer and trying to find places that will allow us to do adoption events. And we have a couple ones that will let us, but also just looking for some new places as well to, get different exposure, different demographics, different groups of people that, to come out.
Yeah.
And so then if somebody applies, then that gets forwarded to our board member, or the person that checks the emails will send that to the foster, and just have to go over it if they want help reviewing it, and then work that out with the person that wants that animal.
When you say animals, you're just cats and dogs, or you guys like rabbits? Because I know some they have rabbits, maybe.
Yeah, some do.
Just
We're primarily just cats and dogs. We have a cat coordinator who is a one-man machine, and she just runs that whole thing, which is so admirable because we have a board of 7 that manage the dogs, and then we have one that she's been doing it for years, and she has a process, and just does an amazing job for us.
and for volunteer job, do you guys like if I want to volunteer, can I?
Oh, absolutely. We every weekend, because we do have some shelter partners, especially pet grooming, actually right down the road from here, UE. Jamie Kubiak, she fosters for us. And then Pup Palace, Sydney Simmering, and then at Pixie's Doggy Palace, Rachel Butler. And so they all have fosters, and we're always needing help with getting dogs from those facilities to our adoption event. Now, a lot of times the staff is able to bring them, but there are times that they can't. They don't have enough workers. They can't spare someone to leave and go to PetSmart or get that dog to wherever we're having our event. And so we're always needing transportation. And then we've also started a weekend warrior program. Jamie Thomas Dubiak has done. And essentially, like if a student or somebody wants to come and just take out like one of the fosters for the day, maybe they want to keep them for the weekend, take them back.
I would love to personally.
Yeah.
Like give them a break from that shelter environment. And we do that when, we really want to take in an animal, but we just don't have a foster available.
Yeah.
And so sometimes our partners say, hey, I really think this dog would be fine. They're very adoptable, and yeah, we'll take them in for you. They also help us out significantly if, like, say somebody takes an animal into their home. Well, you can't always tell the full temperament of an animal when, say, they're at animal control. I mean, they do their best to assess and evaluate, but it's a different environment going from animal control where you really don't know anything about some of these animals that get taken in, and then somebody says, yeah, hey, I'd like to pull them, and then it doesn't work out in that home. And that's where not having a facility really is harder for PAWS, because then it's like, okay, well, where do we move this animal?
Yeah.
Because most of our fosters have other animals. So say you get this dog in, turns out doesn't like other dogs, and then you're like, well, where do we move them? And that's where our shelter partners a lot of times will come in and help us out with situations like that. So we definitely rely on them. And we've had times where everybody's full, and even our partners were full, and because adoptions are slow, and we do have a handful of dogs that have been in our care for over a year, and it's not that they're bad dogs, they just keep getting overlooked, or they just need a particular type of owner. Maybe they have to be an only dog, or maybe they don't like men, and or maybe they don't like children, and so then you really have to just take longer.
And people would like sometimes like want to want an older dog.
Exactly. Right. And I mean, we just adopted out 11 German Shepherd Doodle mix pups, and they like flew out the door. But then, we have these other great dogs too that, but I also understand everybody is, we all
These
have,
are cute.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we have everyone has limitations and what they can and they can't do. And, we just appreciate any
Any
help.
help.
Yeah, Um, so yeah, so those are definitely like public transportation, even just helping at events, like volunteering. We set up kennels every Saturday. We get them down. Um, we had done. We're looking for, and as part of that, looking for places to have little events. We had done some with UE as well as USI in the past, and wouldn't mind doing like some type of little puppy or dog event with some of, any of the universities to get awareness and just attention and get the dogs out and they get to meet people. And
Yeah.
UE did one for us, I think it was year before, and it was really, really successful.
Was it like the dog, like the break, where you could like
Yeah.
come in? Yeah.
You could just go and pet them, and they hung out on the lawn outside of Ridgeway.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was great fun for us and the dogs, and I think the students enjoyed it.
Yeah, I remember that. I stopped by for a little bit. I was so busy. I wanted to like hang out with the dogs all day, but
Yeah.
We had ones that like this back home, and it was like a so cute, like Mom, can we bring it out? I was like, my tears. But we had a dog. Like I told my mom, the first thing I'll do after I graduate is adopt a dog because I can't because I live
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the best owners have been like students that are graduating. Actually, I have one foster, and I love the story. We had this litter, and we'd given them all these Greek names, and back then we could bring my fosters to my office on campus. And our dean at the time, it was like the kickoff meeting for the university. They were just starting back at school. And our dean, it was Greg Rowski at the time, he tells the entire student body, hey, Mrs. Frazier in room such and such in her office, like, she's got foster dogs there today, go see them. And as it turned out, we had an international student who was from Greece. Her friend had just seen the puppies listed on our website, and so she came, and she had already worked it all out. She got a house on campus that she could have a dog, and she ended up adopting Hermes. And now Hermes, after she graduated, he lives in Greece with her.
Oh my god.
With her parents and family, and I see him on Instagram, and it's like just like so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then Blake Simmons, his dad was a UE basketball coach for a while, and Blake attended here, and he was dating Kaylee Bettag, and they ended up adopting two of my dogs, and they live in Texas now. But like those pups had the best life. I mean, they were high energy puppies. They were from our Guardians of the Galaxy group, and I mean, I would always see like videos, and they'd have them out, and they're hiking, and out and about doing all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, so that was fun. I really enjoyed it.
That's really sweet. Yeah, and have you guys done like Dog Day downtown? Have you been?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I think I've seen you guys down there before.
Yeah, that's a great event.
Oh yeah.
We had it. When did we have that? That was in the fall, I believe. September, October.
Yeah,
I believe
right
is
around
when
there.
they have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes wear two hats with that event because I'm on the Woodmere Dog Park board, and so this year we just had our two groups next to each other, so you kind of go back and forth between PAAWS and Woodmere, and that's been a great addition to the community too. I think people really seem to enjoy
Oh yeah.
the dog park. There, they don't have a yard.
Absolutely.
100% of the proceeds go to the animal, but like, how does that go into like the animal care and like with the transportation and stuff. It's no one's paid or anything either. Like, what does that look like? Like, how do you keep people motivated to keep helping out?
That's a struggle.
Yeah.
I think that people they get involved in animal rescue just because they're parts in it. There isn't compensation. There's not, even for places that do have buildings, there are other jobs that you could probably do for that. But it's what you get out of it. Why you do what you do. It's it. There's to see the transition. For me, this is one of the most rewarding things is taking in an animal that is they've been through terrible things. I've had some bait dogs, pit bulls that I have taken in. He was emaciated and all bit up and scars and everything, and it's so hard to see them like that. They've had such a terrible past, and um, both him and the little guy that came in with him, and just seeing that transformation, like not just physically, like the physical care that they require, but like that whole decompressing process and seeing some of that fear melt away, and then on the outside seeing their bodies heal from the trauma that they've been through, to becoming happy, like well adjusted, and even some that haven't been through that type of trauma, like just coming in here to death, and they're hovering in a corner and they're afraid and all of that, and building their confidence and working with them. I mean, it's not that love can cure everything, good nutrition and care, proper care, but there is a lot to be said for just providing love to that animal.
Yep.
That helps them feel internally that makes it feel good. The financial strain in the community is bad. Right now, we're in a major crisis when it comes to animal welfare. We have a record number of surrenders. We have a record, number of just strays in the community, and I mean, I know that some of those strays I actually have two in my home that the owners left and literally just they moved and they literally just left to wander the neighborhood. We've gotten animals that were abandoned in apartments. They moved out. They didn't take their animal with them, and not in those. I can't say in those instances what the reasons were, but I do know that we are getting a lot of surrenders. People simply can't afford their animals anymore. We have a nationwide vet shortage, and so we don't get a lot. We don't have a big pipeline, and then there are big corporations that are going and buying up like a lot of the mom and pop shops or local vets, and then what comes along with that is, I mean, even we as a rescue have seen our costs triple because of that. Well, and we get rescued at the discounted rate than what people in the general public do, and so it's understandable that somebody takes in this animal, their vet office gets bought out, their vet retires or whatever, and now, I mean, they can't, they simply can't afford that animal. The other problem in Evansville is that we don't have a lot of affordable housing. A lot of millennials, like, they're holding off on having children, so they have their animals. Those are their children, and we don't have a lot of housing available to people, especially those with large breed animals. A lot of times the weight limits are like 30 pounds. I mean, that could be a 6-month-old puppy or 8-week-old puppy, not maybe probably not 8 weeks, but, any of these large breeds, we just don't, they get put in a really difficult situation is hey, I need to, I'm getting transferred to Evansville for my job, but I can't find a place to live that I can afford that will take my animal.
Yeah.
They said that, I know Vanderbilt Humane Society has said that if just 6% more of people in the community would adopt from rescue, it would help our community significantly with the overcrowding. Our animal control is always, and the rescues are full. I mean, I know that Vanderbilt, Warwick, ITV, like their shelters are full, and everyone helps when they as much as they can. But what we're needing is people in the community to come in and go into animal control and adopt. And fortunately, Missy Mosby, who used to be on the city council for Evansville, became the director at Evansville Animal Care and Control. And she's only been there a couple months, but I'll tell you, she's doing an outstanding job. I mean, so I follow them, and on Monday morning, she'll usually make a post like the last couple weekends. She's like, wow, like she's in tears because they were full, difficult decisions are going to have to be made, because the animals just keep coming in, and people in the community are now seeing it not just as a place where animals go in and never come out. Like, they're seeing it as a place to find that new animal that they need or want in their life. And that's outstanding because it takes the pressure off the rescues who are trying to take in as much as they can, so that a euthanasia decision doesn't get made. But especially like with PAWS, we can't do it unless we have people. And the other shelters can't do it if they don't have it. So it goes back to the community that, we're also relying on them to help us out, visit the local animal control, and help with that outing. And I mean, I've even seen just a change in their social media and the communication for, what animals are there and just getting more information on them. But there's some really positive things happening here locally. And the same thing out in Warwick County. They got a new director out there, and from what I see, he's doing a really good job. His name's Brandon, and none of this is going to happen overnight. But if you get a few like people, like even just playing a little part, it's going to help with some of these problems and limitations.
Yeah, definitely. That 6%, just 6% of people helping. That is crazy.
It is
like
crazy. It doesn't sound like much. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't done the math. Like, okay, in our community, there's what is the population? I mean,
Yeah.
probably number-wise, in absolute numbers, it seems a little more overwhelming, but
Yeah, but still,
really,
like
50%.
that makes it so much more like graspable. Like
Yeah.
it just like if people knew a little bit more, if they were a little bit more educated on like fostering, adopting, and like how to be prepared to do both of those, either of those. I think just like getting some of that, getting that out of the dark and like making it more available, accessible, which you guys do to make it a lot more accessible for people to foster and just help out animals. That definitely, it's a very big difference, very big change. Yeah. Let's see. I was wondering, like, if you do you like partner with people outside of Evansville? Like you were saying that you have you guys were gonna go do like the tour and everything. Yeah. Do you like regularly partner with people in like surrounding counties or in the tri-state or?
We try.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to welcome 20, 15, 20 dogs to
Yeah.
their facility.
Yeah.
It can be a lot sometimes. We did start, because we are looking for some other places to host events. Last summer, there was an art festival out in New Albany. Not New Albany, New Harmony.
Yeah.
And we went there. We took some dogs out, got some exposure out there. We're looking to try to maybe go down to Owensboro, do some events there, maybe Henderson. I don't know. we're trying.
Yeah.
Just trying to find, expand where we're at to get in front of different groups. But every county, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
honestly.
definitely.
There's shelters in several different counties just in our immediate area. And we're all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, because I'm from Owensboro, so like the Humane Society down there, they're always like every week they have like calls like, hey, foster, please, like we are at capacity, or like we have way too many. They have a lot of cats there too, stuff. But just like down there, from what I've heard from people, it's like a difficult process for them. So there's not too much or difficult process for people to just like help foster, and because there's not as many accessible programs like PAAWS to help people foster. So definitely.
Well, and not everyone can foster either.
Yeah.
Some people just don't have that like set up available, or they're not. Maybe you're a student and you're in the dorm. Like there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But like there are other ways of helping too. Like I said, with the transport and helping at events. But also like we're putting together some fundraisers. We just got a new board elected, and we had our kickoff fundraiser committee meeting, and we have a bunch of give back coming up. And so I did bring some flyers, and I thought, well, maybe we could distribute. And so one way that even like students that can't take in an animal, or maybe they don't have cars, they can't really go transport, but maybe go and just attend some of our give back. We've got Hacienda, Jason's Deli is this Thursday. We have Wayback Burgers on the east side that's coming up, and AZIC and AZIC coming up here, all within like this next month. So
Wow,
even just something like that, just attending a gift back night where X% of the proceeds go.
Yeah.
That's greatly appreciated. So like, don't ever feel like, oh, it's not really much, like it's not really gonna matter. Like every bit and every bit matters. And we're really just so appreciative of anyone willing to donate their time or help or energy with anything.
Yeah, that's a really important takeaway. Like everything helps. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it, and you guys do great work.
Thanks for trying.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
awesome.
Do, right?
Yeah. Do you have anywhere where people can like find like socials or get in contact with you guys?
Yeah. So we have a website. We are currently in the process of redoing our website. We're lucky enough, one of our members owns Media Mix, and they have been gracious enough to work with one of our board members and redo all of that for us as they have time. So, but our website is www.pawws.org. We're also on Facebook at PAAWS, PAAWS No Kill Animal Rescue. And we are in the process. We just got it worked out. We'll also be on Instagram as well. And so that's
all right. Great. So yeah, make sure to check it out. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. And yeah, so make sure to follow them, and thank you for listening to Pawcast. See you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening to Pawcast. We hope you enjoyed and learned something new today. For more content, find us on Apple Music, Spotify, and firesideradio.edu as Pawcast, or YouTube and Instagram as Pawcast 2026. See you next time.